Hey guys, first I just want to say that I did buy this unit with my own money. I've had zero contact with any vacuum companies or any marketers or anything like that. So this is a no BS review from someone who actually owns this thing and uses it every day for the last few months. So I've owned a lot of robot vacuums over the last decade or so. I bought a Roomba 530 in 2008. And then I switched over to Neatos and I bought a bunch of those. I've had 5 Neatos, 2 of which that I still own, which they're in my basement. Keeping it clean. So I feel like I know a lot about these things to be able to say like what's important to a normal person when they're shopping for robot vacuums and what is just marketing nonsense and what actually matters when you're picking one out. And I just want to say that right off the bat that the i7 Plus is by a wide margin my favorite robot vacuum that I've owned so far. So I would imagine that anyone shopping for an $800 robot vacuum or who is watching YouTube videos about robot vacuums probably knows the gist of what they're all about by now. They're not new technology by any means. So this thing cleans your house for you. It has an app that lets you look at the maps of the rooms of your house that it's cleaned. You can set it on a schedule. This is one of the smarter ones where it has cameras and sensors that actually run logical, methodical lines around the room, as opposed to the cheap robot vacuums that just bump into things or work randomly around the room and are inefficient with their battery and take forever to clean your room. So the big, huge elephant, interesting thing that's cool about this particular vacuum is, of course, the self-emptying bin thing. So it drives up onto its little station where it charges itself, but it also empties its own bin into a little canister. I've had the thing for 3 months, and I've only had to manually empty that canister one time, which is actually just a matter by coincidence, which is today. And I have 2 dogs and a cat and 3 kids, and I'm kind of a slob myself, so I consider that to be quite a bit of life out of the bag in the canister. So I think that thing's awesome. Basically, I'm not going to own a robot vacuum that doesn't have one of those like ever again. So I guess that's a good transition into some pros and cons, which I think is kind of the best way to review something like this. So big first pro would be the automatic emptying bin. It works great. Been using it for a few months now. Not had any kind of problems with it. It doesn't shoot dirty air back into the room or anything. The bags hold a whole lot of stuff. The sucking the stuff from the vacuum into the bin works perfectly. I haven't had any kind of problems with that. Basically, that's a great feature that I think is essential in a high-end robot vacuum now. Another one would be the fact that this thing maps your house, unlike the cheaper ones that just bump around. And that really ties a lot into the way that the app works. There's other brands that map your house also. Neato technically does map your house, but as of September of 2020, its app totally sucks. The Roomba app is about 1 billion times better than the Neato one. I hear that Neato rather is working on upgrading that app. We'll see when that happens, but as of right now, the Roomba one is way better. There's other brands that have good apps too. These are just the 2 that I'm most familiar with and I can speak intelligently about, basically. But the Roomba app does show the maps of the house at a room-by-room level, and you can assign names to the rooms, and that's really cool then, because then you can select what rooms you want to clean individually. So you don't actually have to you don't have to carry the vacuum to whatever room you want to clean. You can just assign it to clean the room from the app. And so it'll drive through whatever areas it has to get to that room, clean that room, and then drive back. So as long as you have a reasonably clean path to that room from the base station, then it will clean that room, which is super awesome. I use it all the time. And in fact, if you do carry it to another room and then you tell the i7 to dock, it will scan it where it thinks it is in the house and then drive itself back to the dock. You don't even have to carry it back. It's like super intelligent and very impressive. Something that Neatos and most other brands can't do right now. There are some other ones that can do that, but Again, this one just works very well. Um, Also, a recent upgrade to the app allowed zone cleaning. So you can tell it to clean like, you can assign zones within rooms. So one that I use a lot is the couch area in my living room. So I'll just say, I'll have the Roomba clean the couch, and it will just drive to the area around the couch and clean that, because that's where my kids make a lot of mess all the time. So that's super convenient. And then also it has Google Home and Alexa integration, so you can just tell, if you have those devices, you can just tell them to clean a room or a zone, or to dock the unit, or various other things, and it just does it, and it's pretty amazing. Here's a shot of that happening.
Hey Google, vacuum the living room.
Got it. Starting Roomba in the living room.
Yeah. Watch out, that's making a video.
So that usually works really well, and I use it pretty much constantly. It's very, very convenient to be able to just tell it to go to, like, say, hey, clean the dining room, and it just goes and cleans up the floor around the dining room underneath us when we ate dinner there or whatever. So I love that feature. I will say that when we got it, it was like weirdly quiet. I've owned, like I said, a lot of Nidos in the past, and they are quite loud because they have very high suction, and they sit up higher off the floor, and various other reasons why they're just louder. This thing is really quiet, but in my opinion, it cleans every bit as well as the Nidos, if not better, while being a lot quieter. A lot of that is because it sits lower to the floor, and so it just, as a result, has like less, it needs to blow air under itself less, and it just is more effective while being quieter. I was very surprised by that, and I actually had to Google when I got it, like, is there something wrong with this unit? But I saw other people talking about it, and they were having the same kind of experience. And like I said, as far as I can tell, it cleans just as well as anything I've ever owned. So I consider that to be a definite pro, really. So to add on to that, it has dual rollers underneath it, which the Nidos and most, I think maybe all other brands, only have the one roller. The rollers underneath the Roomba i7 do a great job to direct the dirt into it, while like not being too rough on your carpet, and also being really easy to clean. I have, like I said, a bunch of pets and kids and all that, and so basically everyone but me in the house has really long hair, and the rollers never get jammed up or have any kind of problems. So I would just say, you know, as long as you clean them every few runs, which is what I do, just make sure there's not anything accumulating on the end zone or anything, then I don't think you're going to have any problems with it. So then the last pro I would say is, I have a bunch of rugs all over my house. I don't have any like shag rugs, but just normal kind of rugs. Some short and some kind of medium, like bath rugs, you know, that are real thick for like humid areas. It has no problem with any of those. I've never seen it get stuck on any of my rugs. I don't have tassels or anything. If you got tassels, you're probably gonna have problems. But for regular non-weird rugs, I don't think you're gonna have too many problems with it. So let's talk about some cons. Definitely one con for some people would be that the bin that empties itself is very loud. It's like more loud than you would expect it to be. It's like a jet engine. It's particularly loud in my house because I have the thing in a hallway, so it just kind of echoes in the room. I've very much gotten used to it. It's not a problem. The hallway is right outside the room where the baby sleeps. It doesn't wake him up, and that would be the most horrible thing in the world if it did. So it's not that bad, but it is very loud. If you're going to have it in your bedroom or something and you think that you're going to sleep while that thing's going, you're insane. So just be aware of that. Also, because of the way that this vacuum works, it's not a LiDAR vacuum, so it uses the camera sensor, and it's mapping the ceiling of the room with the camera on top of it. So as a result, it does require some amount of light to be on in the room. A LiDAR vacuum, such as a Nido, does not require any light. It can work in pitch black, but a Roomba with the camera does require some amount of light. I do run it at night with just like a dim lamp on, and it works okay. I have not had a problem with that. Just be aware, if you try to run it in a totally dark room, it will give you an error saying that it can't find its way around the room. Some people might consider the auto-emptying bin to be a con because it does require bags. I am not in that camp at all. I would much prefer the bags. They filter themselves so that you're not blowing stuff into the room. You don't have this dusty, dirty bin you have to clean out periodically. I think the bags are extremely convenient, but some people might consider that to be a con because you have to buy them. However, I will say that you can buy like off-brand versions of them on Amazon for way cheaper, which makes it even less of a deal. So it might be a con for some people, not particularly for me, but definitely worth bringing up. Also, I'll say that it's definitely a con that this thing is a round shape. A lot of other models, including the i9 from Roomba themselves, make that wedge shape, which is much better at getting into corners and along edges and stuff. I wish this one was a wedge shape, but I will say that the i9 is a wedge shape, and it does not have nearly as good reviews. That's the primary reason I did not buy an i9, is because the people on like Amazon and stuff were saying that it just doesn't do as good of a job cleaning. The software has issues, and also like parts availability and stuff is not as good. So Roomba's been making robots of that round shape forever. The wedge shape is very much new to them, and at least as of right now, it doesn't appear that they've got that design quite figured out yet. So I very intentionally went with the i7, not only because of cost, but also because of longevity of the unit and functionality. So there's a pro and a con there, right? The i7 is more reliable according to other people than the i9. However, the i9 being that wedge shape will be better at getting into corners. So something to mention there too. Another con would be the fact that the dustbin on the unit itself is, in my opinion, quite small. It's definitely a lot smaller than the Nidos, and it's definitely a lot smaller than other brands of robot vacuums that I've seen. However, because this thing has the auto emptying feature, in my opinion, that makes it a complete non-issue. The thing fills up its own dustbin, drives over to the auto emptying bay, empties itself, and then it keeps going. So the small bay ends up being a non-issue for me, but for some people, or people who do not opt to buy the self-emptying bin for whatever reason, that small bin on the robot itself can definitely be a problem. Kind of a similar situation with the battery life. It's kind of short battery life. I've definitely used the robots that could last on a single battery much longer than this one does, and in fact the battery is pretty much on the small side. But again, it can go to its charging dock, charge itself up, and then resume. I find that it does my entire upstairs. It runs one full cycle, charges, and then finishes up the upstairs, and that's tolerable to me. It definitely does like the important areas, like the living room and hallway and stuff, within one charge. But if I have it do the bedrooms and the bathrooms and all that, then it needs to recharge itself in the middle of that. So something to be aware of. Definitely a con would be the price. I paid $800 for this thing. I believe when it came out, it was even higher than that. I've seen it go as low as $700. I think that's a great deal. I found it to be a reasonable purchase at $800, but that's going to be different for everybody. It's definitely by far the most expensive robot vacuum I've ever bought, but I found it to be worth the money. So, and then the last con is just the kind of a concept thing, which is the fact that the machine learning robots are starting to hit the market. Those are the ones where they have cameras like on the front of them that will distinguish individual objects from each other. So like it can sense a pile of cords on the ground, for example, and know what that is and know to drive around it. This robot does not have that. That's a very unusual thing in the industry right now, but I think that's going to be kind of the next big step that all the robot manufacturer brands are going to go for, is the machine learning cameras that can intelligently drive around the room, and like if they see dog crap on the floor or something, they're going to know not to drive over that. Which that'd be a pretty nice thing, because that's something that a lot of people would be afraid of if they had one of these things running on a schedule. That's actually the primary reason I never have it running on a schedule, is not for dog crap, but for like kids' toys and stuff. I have to keep the room clean in order to run this thing. If the robot could watch for toys and stuff and intelligently drive around them, that would be pretty awesome. But this one doesn't do that. The ones that do that, it works okay. I've seen other reviews of them. I think that the self-emptying bin and the other features of this thing make it more of a better purchase right now. But in a couple of years, when other brands, and possibly including Roomba, has the machine learning cameras on them, maybe that'll be a different story. So yeah, I think that's about all I had to say about the Roomba i7 Plus with the auto emptying bin. I like it. I've had it for 3 months. I would definitely buy it again. Like I said, I have 2 Nitos in the basement, and I wish that I had the money to buy another Roomba to put in the basement to replace those. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but yeah, life is hard, right? But I definitely recommend other people to buy this if they are looking for a high-end robot vacuum. One of my friends was, and I recommended this to him, and he bought this one and the mop vacuum that goes with it. He loves the robot one. He is much less of a fan of the mop one, so I can't can't say too much positive stuff about the Roomba mopping vacuums. I've never tried one myself, but he also loves the i7 Plus, at least, so I can tell you that. Yeah, put some thought into whether this makes sense to you. You know, a lot of it depends on what kind of flooring you have in your house. These robot vacuums tend to do better with carpeting, in my experience. With hard floors, you might be better served with maybe a cordless duster or something like that. But in my house, the only floors that are hard floors are my kitchen and my bathrooms. It does a fine job in those. I never find that it misses the pieces of cereal or whatever that my kids leave around. But if you have a house that's exceptionally almost entirely hardwood flooring or something like that, a robot vacuum might not be your best choice. But if you're wanting something that is automatic, I don't know of a robot vacuum that does substantially better than this one, basically. So yeah, that's it. This is the only video on my channel that's really like this, but I felt like I haven't made a video in like 6 years, and it was about time to make a video about something, and this is something that I was just into right now. So if you want to leave a like or a subscribe or whatever, that's cool. Or don't, whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.